Welcome everybody to Red Suit Interviews, and we are joined by the man, a myth, hopefully legendary. We'll see that in the future. Mr. ManyKudos. So thank you for joining me today as we hopefully partake in a lag-free interview. That's the hope. That's the dream.
Yeah. You can only pray when it comes to Australian internet.
Yeah. Like I said to you before, people who watch this channel know that I've had interviews with people from the US, from the UK, but it seems like the biggest connection issues are on the same line. So that's Australia.
You'd think the internet juice would just travel up the tubes and we'd be golden, but apparently not. So
no.
Thanks, NBN.
It's probably going past America to come back again. That's probably what's the system's up now. But nonetheless,
probably.
For the people who don't know who you are, come on, guys, come on. Who are you and what do you do?
Yeah, sure. Well, firstly, thank you so much for having me. We briefly talked a couple. God, must have been about a month ago now when I first set out on this vision quest to investigate the myth behind Cool Cat. But for the people who don't know me, I'm ManyKudos. That's M-A-N-Y, not M-I-N-I. Probably should have thought about that before I named my channel that, and my New Zealand accent fucked everything up. I do video essays on YouTube on a variety of topics separately about internet culture, and I think they are acceptable. But I'm excited to do more, and the reason we linked up is because I did a video on Cool Cat Saves the Kids. Well, not on Cool Cat Saves the Kids, on the legend surrounding Cool Cat Saves the Kids, or rather the man surrounding Cool Cat Saves the Kids, whose presence can be felt throughout the Cool Cat universe.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's just jumping into that Cool Cat video straight away. What was your main motivator into doing that video? What spurred you along initially into being like, you know what, this is what I need to talk about in my next video?
It's kind of a weird one because it was actually the very first video I was ever going to make. So the script that I'd originally written, I wrote 6 or 7 months ago. And the reason I didn't do it at the time was because I felt like I needed to order the Cool Cat DVDs and everything, and I had all these other kind of gags planned that took a bit of planning. I wanted to order in a Cool Cat t-shirt and do a bit out of that, but that for my first video that just seemed like a lot of effort, and I'm glad I didn't do that because I don't think I would have been able to do it justice at the time. So when I finished up my last video, I was looking for topics to the next one on, and I went through the big list I've got, and I revisited that old script, and I thought, there's actually something pretty good here. And since then, PewDiePie had also done his Cool Cat review, so there's kind of this renewal of interest, which I also thought would be good to capitalize on. And initially, the video was kind of meant to be a lot more lighthearted, I suppose. I don't typically do confrontational, or going forwards, I don't know if I'll be doing a lot of not this is calling out, but that's sort of yeah, not that I wanted this to be a takedown piece either. I tried to keep it lighthearted, but I think initially what it was going to be was just going to be looking at all the other stuff surrounding Cool Cat, so the stuff like gun safety for women, and obviously the Cool Cat commits a school shooting or whatever it's called. I wanted to look at everything surrounding that, and obviously his Twitter and stuff. And it was one of those things, the more that I looked into it, the more I realized this is actually kind of fucked up. I don't think anyone really knows the full extent of it, and the fact that, if your video's getting taken down as well also had a big part to play, because it's he's still doing this shit, and he's doing it in my backyard, essentially. It sort of it shows he hadn't learned anything from the I Had Everything interview. So a video. So I think it was just one of those things. I was people know the story behind Cool Cat. They know Derek somewhat, possibly from the I Had Everything saga, but I don't think they realized just how deep the rabbit hole went. So yeah, I thought I'd make a video on it and just kind of compile all the information that's hidden in little snippets on different podcasts and obviously on your interviews and all that. And yeah, that's how we ended up where we are now.
Yeah. And like Derek has gone down like a weird route. Like since the interviews, like he's posted, I don't know, like some really weird videos, like just with him in the camera. But for you, doing like your deep dive and deep research into this, what do you think's been like the most like obscure, I guess, out there thing you've like found out with the Cool Cat like whole saga?
It's probably, so a lot of the stuff I didn't get too crazy in depth. I did find some weird things off on the fringe. I suppose my main goal was that I kind of just wanted to compile knowledge that was already kind of easily accessible and put it into one video. But there were things I picked up on where I think my favorite one, it's not the biggest thing in the world, but it makes me laugh. I'll send it through to you so you can chuck it up on screen. But there's this press kit that he did, which I found completely by accident on Google Images. I think it might be available on somewhere on his site, but navigating his website's a fucking like migraine. So
it won a Website of the Year award. I think it says
it won Website of the Year, the Golden Website Award. Which, by the way, if you go on the website that gave out the Golden Website Award, their website is atrocious. Like, there's a real irony and the fact that this website award has a bad website.
I wouldn't be surprised if he owns that website.
He's put a lot of bloody effort into it if it has, because so what I wanted to do was I wanted to find the article written about Derek on that website, just to see like what these people, because I think it was like from 2003 or 4 or something, probably back when his website like actually fit in on the internet. But if you go on the website, the Golden Website Award or whatever the hell it's called, if you'd think they would sort the awards by year, month, maybe, because I think they do one a day. I think they give out one award a day, so very prestigious. There's no way to search by year. It's literally just a page, and it's like recent back. So if you want to find Derek, I literally have to click through probably about 200 or 300 pages of just all of these websites to try and find his one. And that point, it wasn't worth it. So that's the sort of Golden Website Award that we're dealing with. So I found that press kit on his website, and there's these photos on it of Cool Cat, the kid's character, in the suit. And it's obviously probably like photos from when he very first got the suit, I'd imagine. And it was, put in the press kit as a way to be like, oh, look, we've got this character that fucking, I don't know, does whatever. And it's very obviously Derek in the suit, because Jason is quite a bit taller than Derek and is also like a lot like more lean, I guess you could say. And so Cool Cat's it's a side view of Cool Cat, and he's got a bit of a chonk to him, he's got a bit of a chub going on. And then I noticed, I was like, this pitch looks really familiar actually. And I looked into it, and it's the cover of the Cool Cat Stops Bullying DVD, I think it's that one. It's that one or the no, it's not the Find a Gun one, because it's different again. So I think it's the one where it's him on the cover of the Cool Cat Stops Bullying, and they've photoshopped out his gut. And just to me, that is just so funny, the idea that he sent this off to some illustrator or something, because it looks like it's been a bit drawn over, and he was like, all right, here's my Cool Cat character, can you make him not fat, because we don't want that kind of role model for kids. To me that was like just, Derek Savage and Instagram models, they're one and the same, they're very image based. So that was probably one of the weirdest things I haven't seen anyone bring up.
My favorite one is for how many years he had on his kid's website his Playgirl modeling pictures.
Yeah, so he used to have the Playgirl stuff on the website, like you mentioned, until YMS called him out on it, I believe. But he still has the picture of him on a singles newspaper from like 1987 or something on there, which is like also kind of weird. And then on top of that, he mentions that he's still single, which is like, that makes it sound like it's like a what's it called in the newspaper? I don't read newspapers. It's like, I get that, but I'm saying like it's like the fact that he writes, oh, I'm single and I live in Las Vegas. It almost, to me, it feels like a weird online dating like the personals, that's what it's called. It's like a personal thing, like, hey, I do all this stuff. Also, I'm single. I live in Las Vegas. Just if you're keen. That's what that reads out to me. Because again, I don't know why you would write that you're single on any sort of professional website. You don't go on, people's business websites and under their bios, they're like, yeah, I'm single, but just like low key. To me that is really baffling and just really speaks to the fact that he doesn't realize what's acceptable and what's not in certain spheres.
Oh yeah, and I guess was there anything that sort of with the research, anything that I guess, what is now your ultimate opinion of Derek after doing your research? Like, have you come into it now thinking a bit differently about him? Have you sort of like, you know what, I sympathize with the man. He's a god. I definitely sympathize with him.
Yeah, sorry, you're cutting out a little bit there. So sorry if I missed part of the question there. But in terms of like, I guess my opinion of him, I obviously went into it thinking he was a bit of a I guess like a buffoon, like a character. He's a weird, strange man that the internet latches onto, like Chris Chan or like these other lolcows, I believe they're called. To me, I don't think. At the end of my video, I kind of leave it open, like, what do you think? And I didn't do that as like a fucking Pulp Fiction, like, oh, we're just going to let you guess what's in the suitcase. Like, I actually genuinely don't know. I think morality is such a hard thing to gauge in people, but I think obviously at the end of the day, all that matters is what's in his heart and what he believes in, not to get too bloody Sailor Moon on you. But I guess from my point of view and my opinion, he seems like someone who wants to do good, but he has several issues that prevent him from, I guess, like fully realizing that. Like, I think the kid stuff, like, you wouldn't pour that much time and effort into it if you didn't in some way want to help kids. If you're cynical, you could easily look at it as him trying to do cash grab, like it just be a total, money hungry sort of individual. And there are definitely times like that, like the amount of times he's re-released the movies, and obviously like the fact that every chance he gets, he holds up the Cool Cat DVD or all the books, or he's always peddling something. So if you're cynical, you could just say, oh, the whole thing's a cash grab. But I don't know. It's hard to know if that's it or not. I think when I say he has issues, I mean, I believe he has some sort of possible anger issues or something, just by the way he acts on Twitter, the way he really cannot handle criticism, or he cannot handle, like, he blocks people for the weirdest things. Like someone the other day just sort of, they weren't even being mean to him. He asked a question about what is this thing, and someone just replied like, oh, let's not tell him. And he's like, you've been blocked for this. And it's like, the guy wasn't even being mean. He was just kind of like, so I think he has some things like that he needs to work through. And if he does that, I believe he has the potential to bring some joy into the world. I don't know if he'll ever be a director, but I think he, I guess, I mean, he's just out here trying like the rest of us.
Look, I think a lot of people online, especially, they get too like angry. Like I'm trying to run that line here. Where it's like he does a lot of stupid things, but I also think the backlash he gets, it's like, damn, like that man, that man's like in the top at least 1,000 most like hated people online, I think.
Yeah, I know it sounds hypocritical for me since I just released a 27-minute video like condemning him, but I suppose my motivation behind doing it was more that he has done these things. I don't want to really shape anyone's opinion, and I definitely didn't want to like. It wasn't like an expose, like, oh, here's some explosive new information you've never heard of. It's more just there was a lot of information out there. I wanted to collect it together, and I wanted to discuss it. And I guess my hope is that he would see this, like he would see this full list of his like sins, almost, if you want to get religious with it, Derek, since he is religious, like, and hopefully he would see that and learn from them and get better, because, you know, everyone makes mistakes. He made a lot of mistakes and made a lot of bad movies, and now he's in this like very, I wouldn't say prominent position, but I mean, he's got like 40,000 followers on Twitter, which to me is like that's a lot of influence, you know. So I don't know. I would hope that people would see my video and get the full context behind him, so that then if they were in the future going to support him, they would have the knowledge of like, well, look, here's what he has done. If this doesn't bother you, then go ahead. But if it does, then, you know, maybe don't give this person money. And hopefully he would see it and say, yep, I've fucked up and I need to get better. I'd be surprised if that happens. I want it to believe he has the capacity to change, but, you know, he's been on the internet for several years now, and he's been called out multiple times, and nothing quite seems to have changed yet. So
and
who knows?
Look, like, I know I've had my drama with Derek as well, especially, but look, Derek, if you're watching this, please come on to the show. I want to talk to you.
Come on, Derek.
I really want to talk to you.
It.
I'm not going to try and bamboozle you or anything. I want you to talk about your opinion, how you feel about the entire situation. You can call me a piece of shit on my own channel. I'll put it up. I don't care. I'd love, if you see this, please come on. I want you to say your truth,
if you do upload it.
Yeah. Say whatever you want. I'll upload it. I'll lose my channel for you, okay? If that's what it takes. All right.
Come on, Derek. You know, if you're not willing to debate your ideas, then your ideas are not worth debating. So come on the channel. Come and have an interview.
Look, we just want to chat. That's all. I'm not trying to catch you or whatever. But I guess because your video, for those who don't know, your video is up now on your channel, correct?
Yep. At ManyKudos. It's many with an A. I mean, it's if you're watching this video, you know my name, so, you know, go there, watch the video after watching this, unless you've already seen my video, in which case keep watching.
So if you're interested in the Cool Cat, sort of, because he gives like a pretty much like a timeline from the Cool Cat drama from the beginning to the end. So it's like, I've seen it, I thought it was great. So check that out. I'll have all links down below. So check this out after this one. But I guess now let's sort of move on to sort of you and yourself in. Actually, you know what? It's getting close to the 27-minute mark, and I think I might actually finish up here now with the interview.
Just cut it. Yeah, that's true. I did say if you do it over under 27 minutes, I will block you. So I will block you, which will be good, because then I can go about my day. Now let's keep talking. I've got more to say.
Okay, good.
Actually, I don't.
Well, I'm very curious. Anyway. How did you? What was the sort of the moment where you sort of decided to be like, you know what, I'm going to make videos for YouTube? Was there any sort of like, have you done other YouTube projects and you sort of like now moved on to like video essay, or is this like the first sort of step for you into like YouTube?
I did one YouTube project when I was about 16, and that is a hidden gem that will remain hidden until I get big enough that I can bring it up and it will be funny. But aside from that, I've never done anything on YouTube, but I watch YouTube all the time, as most people, you know, our age do. And I've kind of wanted to do this for years, probably since about university, which for me was about 3 or 4 years ago. And it's just, I've always just made excuses, I suppose. I want to say like, oh, it just wasn't the right time, but I mean, it was always the right time.
Yeah.
And if you listen to this and you're thinking, oh, it's not no, just do it. Like, just make it happen. But regardless, eventually everything kind of lined up, and this year I decided, yep, I have the skills, I have the means, I have the money, and I moved to a new city, and I kind of had a bit of a better setup where I could have done it. And I just decided to go for it. But again, it had been something I wanted to do for years. And I suppose I often find that if you truly want to do something, it will be an idea that bounces around in your head for years, you know. That's why I often think about, like, if you're ever going to get a tattoo, you know, you don't just run out and get like, oh, that's a cool design, I'll go get that. You kind of want to like have it in the back of your mind, or have it up as a poster on the wall and let it gestate for maybe like a year, you know. And for me, stuff like YouTube and you know, other activities in your life, while not as permanent as a tattoo, if you truly want to do them, you will do them eventually. I've always found that it's true in my life. But yeah, I guess I always wish I'd started sooner. Just because you look at people who'd started a couple years ago and their content is, at the same level as mine. Not to jerk myself off or anything, but like it's either the same level of mine or worse. But because they've been doing it for years, they've sort of amassed a following, and I'm often like, damn it, if only I'd started a few years ago, I'd at least have something. So again, if you want to make a YouTube channel, just go and bloody do it, because no one else is gonna make you do it. It really is all on you. There's a picture I saw a while ago. It's funny the images that stick to you, like people make all these big emotional, like fucking whoop-de-doo motivational pictures, and 99% of them go over your head, but one in a blue moon gets stuck with you. And there's a picture of this little boy outside drawing on a table, and it's like, I think the whole story is like he was at his parents' work and there was no space for him to draw inside, so he like took a little table and like sat on the street and drew, which is very irresponsible parenting. But it's the idea that like if you truly are passionate about something, you will find a way to make it work. And if you're not passionate about something, you will make excuses, and if I don't know why this got into me telling people about starting a YouTube channel all of a sudden, but if you wanted to start a YouTube channel and you just haven't at this point, you probably don't actually want to do that thing. So bringing it back to me, that was how I felt for years. I really wanted to do that, and I never got around to it. And eventually I kind of just got to the point where I was like, I need to do this, or I'm just making excuses. And started making it, made some awful videos. I think my first video, I went and rewatched recently, a small snippet of it, because I needed to put a clip in this new video, and it's fucking awful, which is weird because it's only a few months ago. But
yeah,
I started doing that. I did, my first video was which website has the creepiest guys, where I went on Pokemon's social media accounts and make fun of creepy messages from 13-year-olds, which was a very enlightening experience for me. And I left that on a cliffhanger, so wait for part 2 whenever I get around to doing that. And I know the reason I started doing it is I guess I've always wanted to entertain. I've always wanted to do some sort of like comedy thing. I've always wanted to do stand-up, but I'm too much of a pussy, so I'm like, well, this is kind of the next best thing, then I can edit out all my shitty takes. And I guess I've had, like, I'm an artist by trade, and I've got like the skills and the means to be able to do this with video editing and whatnot. So it's just kind of like, I used to watch YouTube videos and be like, I could do that, and then eventually just got the point. It's like, well, why not? So that's why I started.
Yeah, and why, what drove you to doing the video essay format?
I guess they say you do content that you like to watch, and video essays to me are probably my favorite content to watch. Like, there's nothing better than when you sit down to eat dinner and you crank up YouTube on your TV and you just see like a 20-minute video on a topic that you're like, yes, that sounds really interesting to me. Stuff like all sorts. I really like cooking videos, like long ass videos about cooking, or there's like all these really interesting ones on like speed running, and I don't know, like just if a topic's interesting to you and it's got a cool thumbnail and an interesting title and it's like 20 minutes long, that usually sells me. And if it's funny on top of that, which very few people really, most people don't try to be funny, which is fine. But if it's also funny and entertaining, then to me, that's just like perfect. Like, I could just watch that channel all day. So yeah, to me, it was just a format I loved, and as something I felt like I could do. And yeah, so that was kind of the reason. I couldn't really think of anything else I would do. Like, I guess I could do like cooking videos maybe. I like cooking, but again, I don't know how I'd make that interesting the same way I could make video essays interesting. Stay tuned for the ManyKudos cooking show. That's going to be a real raucous second channel.
Make it a live stream. That's the best way to do it. And because you mentioned just even before, like, there's a lot of video essay channels out there. How have you sort of, because even with like myself, like this, like interviews is like probably like the most like, reductive, I guess, sort of type of content. Like, I'm talking to people. Like, people more or less are trying to often come to see this sort of content for the guest. And it's sort of hard to try and find your creative voice that people come to sort of see you. And I guess it's sort of almost similar to like video essays. It's like oftentimes that people come for the content, but they don't necessarily care for the voice. But how have you tried to figure out your voice in this sort of market and figure out how you stand out?
Oh, sorry, can you just repeat the last part of the question?
Yeah, how do you stand out? Is like how do you see yourself as your creative voice with video essays? How do you try and sort of like separate?
Sure, yeah. So I suppose the first thing that will get people roped in is the series of topics. So because I cover stuff almost exclusively within like the internet and like internet culture, I feel like it's content that I'm interested in, and as I've come to find, I'm not a unique person in the slightest. So if I'm into something, there's going to be 100,000 people minimum who are interested in the same topics, right? So topics that I find interesting, I know are going to interest other people. And so in theory, if someone comes along and sees my thing, hopefully they'll like me and they'll go and see the others. In terms of like creating my own voice, I suppose the fact that I've got me facing to camera kind of puts me, I guess gives me a bit more personality compared to someone who maybe is just a voice. Obviously there are people who do voiceover work who are very, creative in their use of their voice, but there's a lot of other people who like their voice is almost like an ends to a means, and like you could probably just replace it with like text to speech or something, So I guess having me like there and quote unquote acting probably also lends a bit of like personality. People's like being able to see a face, I think definitely like helps you connect with someone a lot more. And then obviously just like my sense of humor, I think bringing humor in it is a big, I mean, it can be good or bad. People might think I'm fucking really not funny, which is the truth. So they could just immediately hate it and turn off, versus like if someone just did like a very dry, video essay that wasn't funny, you'd probably sit through it a lot more than someone who's trying to be funny and is failing horribly. But hopefully people do find my sense of humor funny, and that also I think sense of humor is probably like one of the biggest things to draw someone in. Like if I like someone's sense of humor and I connect with them, which doesn't happen often, like I will just binge their content even if it's like stuff I'm not even interested in. So yeah, I think for me humor is probably the big one. So I hope that's hope that's working out, because if not, I don't have anything.
No, look, it's interesting because like even watching your stuff, you've got that unique perspective, you've got that unique voice with it, and I went through and I was like watching through your videos, and it's great, and you also tackle different things from different like which is the creepiest website for that was like one of the, like I was just like that's such a great idea, like that's like a really interesting way to like go into it. But another thing for like small creators like you and I is that being small, I guess that it's very hard to have that, to get to the point of where you're motivating yourself to keep making content. Because even though like we've got like 800 subscribers, we're not like no one's watching us, no one's doing nothing. But at the same time too, we could step away and like there's gonna be like really nothing. Like really like asking, oh, where's that person? What's happening with that person? Like how do you keep yourself motivated in doing content?
Sure. Yeah. So I guess going back to the passion thing, it's that feeling of, I guess there's a bit of a certain rush to it. Like when you put up a new video and you're excited to see like the reaction, and obviously that when it does well, like, when that advertising video I did well, it's just such a rush, and again, like I said earlier, I love entertaining people. I love making people like smile and laugh, and the idea of doing that on like a large scale is like very rewarding. So that in itself is a big reward. Another big thing for me is like being able to reach out to other creators and other people who I look up to and who inspire me, which I've managed to do to a very small degree so far, just through my videos. So I guess the idea of like furthering that and like meeting more people is often very very rewarding. So it's, I guess, one of the Well, see, that's funny you say that, because that was actually part of the reason I started doing YouTube, was just so I could meet Red Suit interviews. So that's been a real milestone. So so yeah, that's really helpful. And I guess also the work itself is just it's not work, so I shouldn't say, just the process of editing is very enjoyable for me. I find humor just so liberating and so like creatively fulfilling. The work I do in my day job, I guess you'd call it, is far from, like, it's still a creative process, but it's very rigid in what I'm meant to create. It's very like realism and very, there's a lot of restrictions and a lot of like, it has to look like this. However, when I'm doing video editing for my videos, it's like I can just do anything, like you can make something look like shit on purpose and it can be hilarious, like you can really play with anything. It's like a blank canvas, and sometimes that can be bad if there's too few restrictions, but sometimes it's like, I can just slap anything up on the screen, or like, oh, I got this funny little idea while I'm in the shower and I'll just go and do it. There's just no limits there. So I guess it's a mixture of those things, of like the rewarding feeling of making people laugh and having people like comment nice things, which, just whenever someone leaves a nice comment, it's like the greatest feeling in the world, like I made this person laugh and they like my video, and that just feels, that feels awesome. Being able to reach out to bigger creators, people I look up to, or having them reach out to me is also super satisfying. And then finally just working on it is just genuinely fun, like making myself laugh while I edit. And there's some like shitty times, like really boring stuff, like having to go through and edit out all my bad takes and things. But once it all starts coming together and I start layering on things, I'm like, okay, this is good. I got a good ball rolling. Or if I have an idea that just like cracks me up, I'm like, yes, I can't wait to put that out. I can't wait to see what people's reaction is to this. So yeah, I think that to me is what motivates me to keep going for now. I think I'd be very disheartened if I had put as much time and effort in as I had and I was still at that very small level. I know like we are still relatively small, but if I was still on like 20 subscribers after putting in, hundreds and hundreds of hours of effort, would probably be a bit hard. But I guess it's just a testament to the work, yourself and I have done, that we are, we do have a small following. So
I like to think of it as that, like, we have enough people that if we sneeze, that at least someone would say "bless you." That's like that's where we're at now.
That's a nice way of putting it.
But I guess with you've dived into like different topics and different areas with things. And what has been sort of like your favorite creative, or what's been your favorite video that you've done so far?
Sure. I think the advertising one I really like, but I don't know if that's just because it did well or not. Like if all these 1,000 other people said it was good, I'm like, yeah, maybe it was really good. And looking back on it, I'm like, okay, yeah, that part was really funny. That was really good. I think the intro was really good, and that was like why it did well. I think honestly, one of my favorite videos that like fucking nobody's watched is my fast food training one. That one to me, I guess like the thumbnail's a bit weird and like the concept's a bit weird, but I'm a real sucker for like anything to do with food. So the idea of having these like weird fast food training videos is really funny. And to me, I felt like I had some funny jokes in that, and the editing was kind of fun. And I was kind of getting into the groove a bit more. I'll probably go back and watch it now and hate it. I haven't actually watched it like since I uploaded it, because I kind of just like put a video out and just put it out of my mind and move on to the next one. But that one was like super, super enjoyable, and I would love to do something more in that vein, especially after, how intense this video has been, and I guess the real sort of seriousness of this one. It's definitely like one of my least funny videos, if any of them are funny, but I think it's definitely because some of the topics I cover in this are a bit more serious. It definitely, like, there's certainly like, it's like, how am I going to crack a joke about a fucking school shooting? Like it's going to be difficult to do. So in the future, I would like to go back to doing some more videos like that, where I just like, almost like, I guess, like the JonTron format, where he like finds like weird or funny videos or like topics and just kind of like takes the piss out of them. I really like that. So I'd like to try doing that again at some point.
And I'm very with you've pretty much got like free reign of where you can go with your content. You have like a world of opportunity now. And like, so I guess technically I do too as well. But like where you can sort of go with your content. Like, so what are your future goals in terms of where you can go in your future with YouTube?
Get big, get embroiled in a sex scandal, get cancelled, go back to my current job. That's the 3-step plan right now. I guess in terms of the actual videos I'm going to make, just more of the same. I did like doing this Cool Cat one. It really took it out of me in a sense. Like, again, it's much more serious and much more like expository. Is that even a word? Like, it's much more confrontational than I typically like to do. It was, I guess, like I said, I initially set out to just make a fun, wacky one, and then the more I looked into it, it was like, oh, there's a lot of shit here that people don't know about, and I think it is my civic duty as a fucking idiot online to let people know about this. So I think going forward is probably a lot more just sort of funner, more lighthearted stuff, because I'm not a serious person in the slightest, and I don't feel like I could continue doing that sort of stuff long term, So yeah, probably just more stuff in the lines of like, again, the advertising video was super fun to do. That was just like kind of just taking the piss out of, and I still like taking the piss out of people, but maybe out of less like weird deranged old men in America, and more like corporations and people I can kind of swing up towards who, probably actually deserve it more. So yeah, I've got a laundry list of videos I want to make. I've got like a Google Drive with like 70 something video ideas. 99% of them are horrible, but there's a lot of things, a lot of videos I want to make, a lot of stuff down the track, and if this one does well, then that'll be great. If not, I'll just keep chipping away at it. Ideally, I'd like to do this full time one day, because I love doing it, and right now, like, having to juggle it between my actual work can be a bit stressful at times, which is why this current video is so late, on top of the fact that it's really big. So yeah, I guess that would be the dream, is get big enough where I could start making money from it, and not because I want to get rich off it or anything. Like, if I wanted to make money, I'll just keep doing what I'm doing now, because what I do now pays pretty well. So this is really just like, I genuinely love doing this, and I would love to keep doing it. So if I can get to a point where I can start earning enough money to support myself, do it full time, that'd be the dream for me. So that's my current plan.
And going in further with sort of your creative process, like, how do you, because you said that you've got a lot of ideas there, how do you like decide, like, you know what, this is the idea I'm going to work on? Like, how does, like, what's a start to finish with like one of your videos?
So I usually think of video ideas in the shower. I don't know why, it's just a good place. Or actually in the shower, just like, you just be chatting to people and you'll be like, oh, that's a cool idea for a video. Or like, I guess it's starting to get to the point where like some of my friends like, no, I do this stuff, and they're like, oh, you should do a video on this, and it's like, every now and then it's like, that's actually not a bad idea. So I put it all, I got a big list of ideas, and then when I finish up a video, I'll kind of go into there and start looking through it. And I've kind of like gone through and trimmed the list a little bit, like just kind of not deleted, but just kind of highlighted the good ones. And I go through and look and like, yeah, I could see, got some ideas there. And maybe if I'll go through and like start writing out like a script or like an outline. Obviously start doing research into the topic. So there's like, I've got several Google Docs of like not even half finished, like half started scripts almost, where I start like writing into it, and it's like, good one of those things, once you actually look into it, it's like, oh, there isn't actually that much information out about this, or if there is, it's not interesting in the slightest. So I guess I'll start writing out stuff like that. Oftentimes I'll revisit one of those scripts after finishing the next video, and it's like, oh, now knowing what I know, or having sat on it for a month or two and come back to it, it's like, I can now see how I could do this video in an interesting way. And also I'll revisit that. And then from there, like once I sort of start getting a script where I'm like, okay, there's something here, like with the Cool Cat one, I revisited that script I wrote half a year ago, and I was like, okay, there's actually some really cool ideas here that I originally wrote down. And obviously I was interested in Cool Cat before this and watched all the videos and stuff, and it was like there's a lot of hidden juicy nuggets that people don't know about, and it'd be interesting to kind of collate them all together. So once I've kind of got a concept like that, where it's like I guess what you said earlier, how I did the creepiest guys on the internet one, just that concept of like, what if I do that, but I do it in like a fake scientific way where I go on a streamer's social accounts and like take in as much, like just compare them in that way. If I can think of an interesting twist or an interesting way to do that, or something that obviously hasn't been done before, then that's usually when I'm like, okay, this is the video. It's an interesting idea that I'm personally interested in and I would like to see a video on. There's not a lot of information out there about it, and I think it would be fun to make. And once it's got those 4 things or 5 things or whatever, then I'll just start writing it and write everything down. I shoot it all in one day. This one I shot in 2 days. If it's not obvious, there's like a cut in the middle where all of a sudden the lighting changes. I shot that over 2 days just because it was so bloody long, and also because I wanted to film at night and it was just a bit more interesting. And then I bring all that footage in, cut it into clips, and then spend about a week or 2 editing. So that's the full thing. So yeah, that's how I do that. But I think most importantly, it has to be like a video I would like to see. You know, I'd hate to follow a trend or just hop on a bandwagon because it's what's big. You know, it's all got to be something that's like true to me, as lame as it sounds. Like, yeah.
No, I get what you mean. It's interesting. I like hearing sort of how, because getting into that sort of creative process with different creators, because like I do like videography and film on the side of this, but it's very different. And it's sort of interesting because I have like a completely opposite creative process to like most people, because it's very much sort of just like reliant on getting people to be part of this. I don't have to like necessarily derive ideas from it and whatever. So it's interesting to like hear that sort of different perspective with the YouTube game, I guess. And I'm very like, what's been the weirdest sort of community that you've jumped into with this whole new YouTube thing? Like, what's been the weirdest YouTube or even just online community that's just been kind of weird for you? Like, yeah.
Oops, so I think you cut out big time there. Could you repeat that again?
Yeah, so what's been like the weirdest online community you've stepped into with any of these videos?
At this stage, I personally haven't stepped into anything myself. I've had some funny interactions. Well, not me personally, but people, I guess, like discussing the work. I think my favorite anecdote is there was one of my posts of one of my videos on Reddit. I'll keep it vague like that. I've had almost nothing but really positive comments on everything, which has been like super helpful and making me feel like I'm on the right track. You know, it's been very supportive, and I'm eternally grateful. But there's only been about 1 or 2 that haven't been positive, and of one of those, the person, they were mad because in my video I had made the clarification that I didn't have concrete evidence and just to consider what I'm doing is anecdotal, which was my way of just being like, look, I'm a fucking idiot on YouTube. Like, don't take what I say as gospel. Like, take it with a grain of salt. But with that in mind, here is my evidence. But I guess this guy just wanted me to be out there saying, you know, ultimatums. You know, he wanted me to just be like being cocky, or I don't know what he wanted, but he was mad that I was that I put that disclaimer in, and he said, this guy's just another shithead YouTuber with too much time and money, which is not wrong, so that's fine. But then I went on his account, and he is active in a subreddit for heroin users. So my one detractor online is a heroin addict. So, oh well. Sorry to hear that, buddy. I hope you get clean, and maybe you'll like my videos then. I don't know. And my videos just aren't popular with the heroin addicts community.
Yeah, I think that's maybe a good reflection on your side is the people who don't like you.
Yeah, the one person who hates me is in a crippling addiction. That sounds like I'm happy that they. I obviously hope they get help. I just thought it was like, okay, there's one person who's being like really unnecessarily mean to me, and now I know why.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Well, I think that sort of brings us close to the hour mark with this interview, and it's been a pleasure. It's been an internet roller coaster as this with this interview, but I think we got the important things out of it, and everyone at home, everyone on the ride, on a bus, or wherever the people listen to this, gets what they need from this. But for those who want to check you out, and also if you want to check, so how can people find you?
Oh, so you're just saying, you're just asking how people can find me?
Yeah, you could just stay silent through this part if you don't want anyone to find you, if you want.
Man, this internet is wet and wild. I don't know if it's my end or your end. I'm going to blame you because that makes me feel better. But if people are watching this, you've possibly seen my video. If you haven't, go to my channel, check out the new Cool Cat video. If you like Cool Cat, or if you like the Derek Savage cinematic universe, you might like my video. You'll be interested to see just how deep the rabbit hole goes. And otherwise, follow me on Twitter at ManyKudos. Tweet at me, tell me you love me. I don't know. Yeah. Just you know where to find me.
There's also been a precedent that's now been set that you can only dislike ManyKudos if you're a heroin addict. So if you want to be a hater of him, if you're not in some sort of crippling addiction to some sort of substance, you're not a real hater. And the opposite's true as well, which is that if you're a fan, you're by extension not a heroin addict, and therefore clean and sober, and probably have a sort of great sort of health. You're very healthy. That's what I meant to say. Yeah.
So be a fan. Drink some water, go for a run, and don't get addicted to heroin, or you will become.
Because if you become heroin addict, you're essentially a fan of my channel at that point. So
all of 100% of your fans are actually heroin addicts.
Yeah.
So I'm
all you heroin addicts that feel rejected by him, come here. All right. You can just stare glazed at the screen for hours. Okay. Just keep those videos coming on autoplay while you're on your high. All right.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you are addicted to heroin, please seek help, and then come back and subscribe to my channel.
Yes, please.
And Ryan's going to put a link in the description for people who are addicted to heroin on how they can get clean. So thanks for doing that.
Wow,
really
responsibility as a platform, public platform. Yes, I like that one. Yes, of course. If you are addicted to heroin, please get help. Though if you're Australian, there'll be I don't know. Get help. But
they got really fucking serious all of a sudden. Thanks for having me, man. This has been so much fun.
Look, I love the internet. It just makes everything so much more awkward.
I have no idea. Sorry, not the interview. I know no idea how this video is going to be received. But if things get wacky, we should have another interview, another chat.
We could have a follow up one if Derek. We could have a follow up one if Derek decides to copyright claim you.
I hope he doesn't. But I mean, I did go into this knowing that could be a possibility, but for the record, I don't want that to happen because I don't want to have to deal with copyright strikes, as I'm sure no one wants to. So Derek, please don't copyright strike my channel. If you do, you clearly have missed the entire point of my video. But feel free to copyright strike this video because Ryan can take it.
I can take it. I'm a big boy. All right. I'll just tweet out again. Like I honestly think he won't do it because he's probably gotten enough slack with the recent stuff.
Well, I would have thought that
gone on
too with your
with your
original videos, but I mean, he got slapped by I Hate Everything pretty bad, I thought. And I guess it has been a few years, so maybe he forgot. But, who knows? Who knows how that man operates?
Yeah.
I hope he also seeks some help along with our
Derek,
heroin
if
user
you are
friends.
also a
So,
heroin addict who wants to seek help.
He's got some things he needs to work through, and if he does, I think he'll be a better person. So
So
that's the message.
Yeah. So, Derek, if you are also a heroin addict that needs to seek help, there is a link down below for you to check that one out if you want.
Very possible. That's the second video I'm going to be making. The Derek heroin conspiracy. keep your eyes peeled for that one.
That's going to be the one. That's going to be the one, I bet. And for everyone else who wants to check out my other things, check down links below. His stuff will be there. Follow me on social media with my Discords, my Twitters, I don't think I really use Facebook, so I don't care about that one. My Instagram, stuff like that. Check that all out. Yeah, support us both. Whoever gets to 1,000 subscribers is gonna... Wait. Do you want to do a wager who gets to 1,000 subscribers faster?
Keep it clean. Don't run in traffic. Have a great time. Be who you want to be. Start a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
It's been great. Thanks for having me, man.